Hi everyone, I'm Airier, and today we're looking at Overly Sarcastic Productions Legends Summarize the Poetic Edda. Now, I don't know what we're getting into here because I know the Poetic Edda is something to do with Norse mythology and poetry. That's more or less all I got here. So I'm actually really excited because one, this is more of Red talking about legends, and the only parts of that I've seen were Journey to the West, so I know I'm going to enjoy this in advance because previous experience has showed Red tells a really fun story. And I don't know much else here, so we're just going to jump right in because I'm excited as hell, man. Let's just jump right in. You guys know the deal. There's a link below, original video. Hit it up, and let's get started.
Norse mythology, am I right? I'd put it up at number 2 in terms of how much it's studied in the modern day, after Greek mythology,
Okay, yeah,
obviously.
that makes sense.
It's important to remember that despite how ubiquitous a lot of ancient myths and legends seem, how much we know
Oh, yeah, I forgot. They did do the entire, what was it? That was one of the sagas. Or I guess that would be an Edda at this point. Huh.
about these mythologies, and often by extension the culture they stem from, is entirely dependent on how many of their old stories actually survived. Now, in the case of the Greeks, we know so much about them because they wrote basically everything down, and their poets and playwrights spent centuries writing and rewriting classic myths that had up until that point been passed down exclusively through.
Although I would like to point out, unless she brings us up in a few seconds, this is what we have after the burning of Alexandria, and there are a lot of old stories about how what we have now is just a fraction of how much they actually wrote down, so there's always a chance to discover a new story that we've never heard before.
Oral tradition. This resulted in what was admittedly a lot of contradictory ideas and characterization, but also an abundance of references for a mythology that would.
What she's basically saying in more normal time terms is people wrote fan fiction and their own takes on things like, well, what would happen if this happened instead? Yeah. And instead of it being considered fan fiction because copyright wasn't a thing, they basically made a lot of their own versions and people got very confused. On the other hand, it was everywhere, and no one knew what the original one was. So what we know right now, for every single bit of that could very well be fan fiction, and we have no idea what the original content was, which personally I find absolutely hilarious.
Would have otherwise likely been lost to history. Similarly, almost all of our knowledge of Old Norse mythology comes from the Codex Regius, a mysterious ancient manuscript that first appears in the history books in the mid-1600s. It's thought to have been written about 400 years prior, although beyond that its origins are almost totally unknown, and several pages of the manuscript vanished mysteriously in the intervening centuries. Man, forget the Da Vinci Code, where's my modern urban fantasy mystery novel?
I'm going to be completely honest, this is the first time I've heard about this, and already I'm just going, ooh. Sorry, like little historical mysteries like this are literally just a giant pile of sugar to me, so I'm... Oh, that's so freaking hyped, man. Especially like disappearing pages. Oh, what do people not want to hear? This is... Sorry, I love mysteries like this.
Novel about this book. Anyway, today's topic, the Poetic Edda, consists mostly of poetry from the Codex Regius, and it's pretty much the #1 source of all modern knowledge of Norse mythology, closely followed by its non-rhyming counterpart, the Prose Edda. Now, it's structured like most collections of.
So there was actually 2 variations with and without rhyming. Huh. Was that actually at the time or a retranslation?
Myths, in that it's a colossal mess of short stories, most of which have little to no connection to any of the others. So in this video, we'll focus on the most important, interesting, or bizarrely culturally representative of the stories found in it. Oh, and before we get started, do me a favor and leave your Marvel-based assumptions about the Norse deities by the door right there. Yeah, thanks. Just to
Marvel-based? Oh, yeah, because Marvel, Thor. But wasn't it, like, completely off base and not even in the slightest way similar? Oh, yeah, of course, because it's completely off base and in no way similar because they're very much different things altogether.
confirm, Odin's not a neglectful father, Loki's not a misunderstood puppy dog, and Thor's not a chick. Before we go any further, I'd like.
He's not a chick? Oh, because they had a variation of him where he was replaced by a woman. And I think it was Jane, right? And then they had some kind of twist like, oh yeah, now that you've discovered me, I'm going to die. I hope that wasn't a spoiler for anyone. It's been out for years, and that's also the extent of my knowledge about it. Yeah, although I do know there was that one story where Thor did dress up in drag. Actually, as far as I know, it might be more than one. Huh.
I'd like to apologize profusely for my complete inability to pronounce Icelandic words. With that in mind,
wait, people actually pronounce those? No, and I'm not even joking. I thought those were literally just things you had with a chest cold, and they just never acknowledged it. Kind of like German.
Is the Norse creation myth, and let me tell you,
Let's see if I can even say that.
With that in mind, this is the Vrlspa. Profusely for my complete inability to pronounce Icelandic words. With that in mind, this is the Vrlspa.
Vrlspa? I probably just butchered that horribly. The one where everything happens. Vrlspa? Vrlspa? I have no idea how to pronounce that. And that's why she's making the joke about not being able to pronounce it. If anyone knows how, you know, actually that wouldn't help me at all because I can't read pronunciation guides. If I hear it, man, that's one thing. Yeah.
So is the Norse creation myth, and let me tell you, it's kind of surreal.
Whoa.
Yes, even by creation myth standards.
Really?
Basically, in the beginning, there was this big
Like
old
more than
giant named
everything's on a
Ymir
turtle?
and a big empty space called the Ginnungagap. Then along came the sons of Bor, Odin, Vili, and Ve, who killed Ymir and used his body to make Midgard. Then all the Airier got together because
What? Okay, so we have Niflheim and Muspelheim. Oh, hot and cold with Ymir right in the middle. And Dulham. And the... What?
or Odin, Vili, and
Oh,
Ve, who killed
wait, Odin just was randomly... Oh, the sons of the boar, okay.
Ymir and used his body to make Midgard. Then all the Airier got together because apparently there were other gods at this point, and they had a big old party, which was then interrupted when the Norns showed up and told them to get back to work making the dwarves. What follows
I'm sorry, I just... All the Norns showed up and
point,
just
and they
told
had
them
a
to
big
go back
old
to work.
party, which was then interrupted
Also, I'm pretty sure that's Loki right there, and he's just having the time of his life. Oh my god.
when the Norns showed up and told them to get back to work making the dwarves. What follows is 7 stanzas of dwarf names, several of which sound
I'm sorry, did I say what I did? Gandalf. Huh. Thorin. Billy, Killy. And that's why they're in red. She just Oh my god. Tolkien was doing the time-honored British tradition of taking things and using them as his own. Oh my... It actually is perfectly appropriate.
sound suspiciously familiar. Tolkien, you hack! So then Odin and a couple of his pals went out and made a
I'm sorry, I want to see that again. What did she just say?
suspiciously familiar. Tolkien, you
I'm sorry. This is beautiful, man. I never knew I wanted a picture of Red pointing while being all angry at Tolkien, but now I've seen it and this is amazing.
hack! So then Odin and a couple of his pals went out and made all the humans, elves, dwarves, etc. Although in
Out
the
of a
later
tree?
story, Heimdall is credited
I also had 9 moms, golden teeth, and was called whitest of the gods. Hey, whitest with golden teeth? Would he be called the goldenest of the gods, or that's a dwarf? Would that be a dwarf thing? I don't know.
to being responsible for that. Meanwhile, Yggdrasil, the world tree, was being grown by the Norns, who hung out under its roots and controlled the fates of men and gods alike.
We should get a TV down here. Ooh, good thinking. I'm down. Oh my god.
Huh, that's sounding a little Pan-Hellenic. Weird. Anyway, then a war happened between the Airier and the Vanir, who were like the Airier but prettier, and Asgard got a little destroyed, so the gods commissioned a giant to rebuild it. However, the giant asked to be paid in the sun, the moon, and the goddess Freyr as his wife, and because the gods really didn't want to pay that price, and who can blame them, they got Loki to do his thing and disrupt the construction so the giant couldn't finish in the time given. The giant got pretty pissed about this.
Wait, what did he say? So, no, I figured.
They got Loki to do
I will end you. I am not touching you. And Loki's just being Loki.
his thing and disrupt the construction so the giant couldn't finish.
Oh, looks like you're out of time. We good? God, he's just being a dick smiling. Oh, I see where the style for Wukong came later.
In the time given. The giant got pretty pissed
Ah, I knew that wouldn't work. I'm gonna start running now.
about this and threatened the Airier, at which point Thor did his thing and hit the problem super hard. This hand
I thought she said that she wasn't comparing them to Marvel because, nice move, son. Can you imagine how dumb it'd be if you punished him for doing this stuff? Oh yeah, because that's literally how the Thor movie started, isn't it?
This handily sets the characterization for our two
I missed that. Loki, a Jotun, not a born Airier. Got a trickery and fire, likes causing problems.
most prominent deities.
Thor, wow, this goes fast. God of Thunder hits everything very hard with his huge-ass hammer. Admittedly, I mean, it's less than a lot of depictions show it, but I've seen a lot that are more just normal hammer size, but slightly enlarged. Granted, with the metallurgy at the time, that probably would be incredibly advanced even in its own right.
Now that's where the creation myth basically ends, and the narrator for the verse starts talking about the overall structure
Oh, they actually have it all. The 7 worlds, yeah, okay.
of the world and the way things work, which,
Ooh.
while super cool, isn't super relevant, so we'll skip it. She
Really?
ties up the story with a description of the future end of the world, Ragnarok, and how after the world ends, a new one will arise from the ashes. Fun!
Wait, so literally Ragnarok was right in the beginning and they just jumped over it? Okay, need to go back here. I think I recognize a few of these. Jormungandr and Loki on a boat? Fenrir the Wolf and Giant
Ties
Fire.
up the story with a
Yep,
description
Fire
of the future end of the world, Ragnarok, and how after the
What the hell just happened? Well, I mean, literally that, yeah.
world ends, a new one will arise from the ashes.
How do you guys feel about monotheism? Oh my god.
Which is fun.
Oh, Vafthrund Nismal. The one where Odin has a riddle battle. Vafthrund Nismal. Vafthrund Nismal? I'm probably butchering that name. Granted, it's me, so that's all the names, but gah! Why am I torturing myself by trying to do this? Red can't. I'm definitely not there.
Odin wants to find this super smart giant named Vafthrûdnir and challenge him to a battle of wits. His wife Frigg thinks this is a bad idea since Vafthrûdnir is like super smart, but Odin is having none of this forethought business.
I mean, just gonna throw it out there. 1, Mugen and Munin. They have name tags. 2, already they are a more healthy couple than different thunder god. Zeus and Hera. Yeah, that was toxic as hell. Granted, that's also what they were literally made to be, so.
And goes off to find him. So Vafthrûdnir is like, welcome to my humble abode. Unless you're smarter than me, you'll never leave here alive. And Odin's like, neato. My name's Gagnrath. Got anything to drink? Here's an important side note. Odin, as king of the gods, is often compared to Zeus, Jove, and God with a capital G, just by virtue of...
Wait, isn't Job also God with a capital G? Huh. But we look nothing alike. You said it. Oh my god, they just...
being the top eyes are in charge. But Odin's actually much more of a loner and a trickster archetype than any of the other head gods,
really?
A detail which is easy to overlook when put in context of that comparison.
I mean, Zeus has a lot of stories about him going off on his own and tricking people. I just don't think a lot of them are involving Odin the same way, because usually for Zeus it involves, hey, I now have another kid. Yeah.
Odin goes out and quests for knowledge a lot because he's kind of a huge nerd, and to help facilitate his journeys, he routinely disguises himself as conspicuously not Odin.
Who gave you
this
that
puts
idea?
People off their guard and lets
that's a relief. Tell me about it. And actually, tell me about it.
Odin get all their delicious knowledge without them freaking out. So anyway, Odin and Vafthrûdnir have a riddle competition to determine which one
Okay, where did the sky come from? Ymir skull. Damn, you're good. Just well read.
is smarter, in which Vafthrûdnir quizzes not Odin.
The sun and the moon. Some guy named Middlefer. Nice. The day and night. Some guys named Delling and Nor.
On trivia about how the world works, surprising precisely no one but Vafthrûdnir.
Because he would know it because he was there, and I'm assuming the giants were or were not at the time. I don't know. What caused the night to happen? A horse. Go on. A horse named Hrimmelfox. Hrimfoxel? Acceptable. She really likes apples. Stop that!
Not Odin is amazingly well read about that sort of thing, being directly responsible for most of it. And somewhere along the line, Vafthrûdnir decides to bet his life on the outcome of the riddle match, always a good decision. But then not Odin, for his final riddle, asks him a question which has tormented researchers for centuries. What did Odin whisper into Baldur's ear when they held his funeral? Which you might note is something only Odin would know, since Baldur was super dead at the time. More on that later. Anyway.
Wait, he already died at this point? Okay, I guess things happen. Since he's only allowed to ask questions he actually knows the answer to... That would also imply exactly who he's talking to, but also, why is he having a riddle battle with someone he wanted to get information from? If he already is answering everything he knows.
Vafthrûdnir puts 2 and 2 together and figures out he was matching wits with Odin, the literal god of knowledge.
Yeah. Damn, I thought he was trying to get info. I was like, oh, what did he get? No, he's just having fun. And he just realized he's dead because he's matching knowledge with the god of knowledge. Yeah, that doesn't go well. Riminstol? Oh, God, I'm not going to say this. The one where Odin gets set on fire?
So in keeping with the pattern of behavior set by the previous poem, Odin's tendency to disguise himself as a harmless mortal has gotten him into a spot of trouble. Basically, Odin and his wife Frigg were comparing favorite mortals, and Odin's like, my guy Gareth is doing great, dude, he's a king! And Frigg is like, dude, Gareth tortures his guests if they look at him funny. And Odin's like, what? Come on, man, there's no way. Look, I'll prove it. And disguises himself as a mortal and pops down to hang out with Gareth, whereupon he is promptly imprisoned and tortured. Well.
I'm sorry, I just love the face here of, well. I guess she was right. How the hell did Thor become the main character if it seems like everything is literally just Odin being awesome and everything follows from that?
To be fair, it's partly Frigg's fault, since in an effort to win the bet, she sent a servant down to warn Gareth that an immensely powerful mage was going to be stopping by to bewitch him, and told him how to identify this potential threat. Man, Norse gods do not play fair. So anyway...
Yeah, and they're still less toxic than the Greek ones so far.
Odin is understandably rather pissed, but there is a silver lining. Gareth's son, Agnar, has been stopping by to give him water, and in return, Odin's been telling him stories about
his new favorite human. Did I ever tell you about the time Loki tied a goat to his... Ah, sets for YouTube. Damn.
How the world works. The rest of the story is mostly a retread of the initial creation myth, up to the end, where Odin decides the time has come to reveal himself in all his glory, possibly originating the hero lists their many names and titles trope in the process, and Gareth trips and falls onto his sword like an idiot. Odin vanishes, presumably to apologize to Frigg and then go find some aloe vera, and Agnar becomes king and rules for many years.
Oh, wow, that actually worked out.
So one day, Freyr...
Wait, what did that say? They go so fast.
And then go find some aloe vera, and Agnar becomes king and rules for many years.
Crown there. The one where Freyr gets his... It's a girlfriend? Oh, wasn't expecting that.
So one day, Freyr, twin brother to Freya and god of happy sunshine and fertility...
Freyr, god of peace, fertility, rain, sunshine. Freya, love, fertility, battle, death. Oh yeah, she was one of the... I was going to say Norm, but that's completely wrong. Not Asgardian. Well, she is Asgardian. And actually, I think she was the other one. Valkyrie, that's the word. I think she was the one leading the Valkyries, right?
He's minding his own business, surveying the worlds. Hey, isn't that Heimdall's job? When he spots an absolutely gorgeous giantess off in Jotunheim, Freyr is immediately love-struck and sends his servant Skirnir to try...
I'm sorry, did that just say dork? Oh my god, it did!
Gorgeous giantess off in Jotunheim. Freyr is immediately...
And she just says dork to him and he's all love-struck. Oh my god.
Love-struck and sends his servant Skirnir to try and win her over, giving him a neat horse and magic sword. So Skirnir rides over to Jotunheim, and Girth, the hot giantess from earlier, lets him into her house, where he offers her 11...
Girth. Apparently that word had different meanings before.
Gold apples if she'll marry Freyr. Girth refuses, so Skirnir adds a magic self-duplicating ring to the offer. Girth is still unimpressed, so Skirnir threatens to kill her instead. Girth is having none of that, so Skirnir...
He did what? With the what? So that's how we're playing. Yeah, no. Also, he has a type. I'm sure nothing like this online exists at all. Moving on.
So Skirnir resorts to casting a curse on her that will only manifest if she doesn't marry Freyr. Girth's like, ugh, fine, and promises to meet up with Freyr in 9 days' time.
Oh my god. Like, sorry, that face right there. That face of, oh, fine.
Manifest if she doesn't marry Freyr. Girth's like, ugh, fine.
See that? That right there is absolutely hilarious to me because on the one hand, you can just hear her saying what she's saying, oh, fine. And it's a horribly ridiculous thing. On the other hand, that's a smile that she was drawn with. Interesting little choice there.
And promises to meet up with Freyr in 9 days' time.
It didn't work, did she?
Get there happily ever after, and life is good. It's relevant to note that different versions of this story exclude the threats to Girth's well-being, so if you'd prefer to imagine that there's no creepy element to the romance, that's totally an option.
I mean, on the one hand, that is actually surprising that it actually did work out fine. And to throw it in there a third time, why not? Actually, I'm surprised. The horrible stuff aside is usually what I expect, so yeah, this is just weird it worked out. And frankly, considering how a lot of marriages at the time went, it's even weird that everything worked out fine because, yeah, marriage was usually a social contract to try and get shit from other people's families. And that is a lot of what human history was. It was not anything about love or anything at all like that. So the fact that this kind of worked out is weird. I'm okay with it, though.
So Thor is on his way back to Asgard after some shenanigans in Jotunheim, but I guess he left his magic goat-drawn...
I have called an Uber, but I could use the fresh air. It's funny because everything is smoke outside. That is a timely reference. If you don't get that, I am so glad, and I hope that doesn't last long enough for people to get this beyond the days I'm recording this. And if it isn't...
Unchariated home, since for some reason he's walking the whole way. Anyway, he encounters a turbulent river, which presents an unreasonably insurmountable obstacle.
Get over this one.
For Thor, there's a ferryman with a boat. But this ferryman takes an unreasonable disliking to Thor and starts taunting him mercilessly, saying that Thor dresses poorly and also his mom is dead.
Hey Thor, doth mother know your weareth her drapes? Say that to my face. Oh wait, she did. I know it says she's, but I don't care. It's more funny without that.
Thor's like, oh yeah? Well, do you even know how many furious battles I fought with the Jotuns? A lot. That do anything for you? And the ferryman's like, oh, I'm sorry. I probably didn't notice because I was busy getting laid the whole time. That's pretty much indicative of the overall quality of argument through the rest of the story. And eventually...
So basically, it's being online, and it's literally your mama jokes. I hate how this gives good credence to the idea of like, oh yeah, well, your mama's fat is literally historic discourse. Or, well, it'd be funny if I didn't sleep with your mom! Oh god, does that mean every time Tectone does that joke, it's actually a historic reference on a net? Oh god, it actually is. They're classic jokes. I don't know how to feel about this.
The ferryman just tells Thor to go around the river. It's all very surreal.
That was it?
So the eyes are...
Wait. So the story actually was the ferryman dicked around with him, had his fun, and told him, yeah, you can walk around up there. Okay, sure. That's how that went. What did
Eventually,
that
the
last one say?
ferryman just tells Thor to go around the river. It's all very surreal.
How the Airier got their sick party venue. Oh my god. Hi, Minskva? Miskva? Oh god, I probably said something insulting at that point.
So the Airier were all having a party in Airier's house one day. Airier, by the way, is some friendly ocean Jotun who apparently throws some pretty wild parties. So the Airier suggests that they party it up at his place more often.
Great party, Airier. We should do this one more often. He actually just said that, yeah.
And Airier agrees on one condition. They have to get him a kettle that's big enough so that he can warm up enough ale for all of them at once. So Thor and Tyr...
Okay, 1. Dude, really? 2. Warm up the ale. I've heard of room temperature, Guinness, and I've heard of cold, everything else that doesn't have flavor that you actually want to comprehend so you numb it so you can't actually taste it. But warm, that I have never heard of. Like maybe mead, but I thought that was more because the process of making it. I don't... Sorry, that is weird. I don't think I've ever heard of that.
Tyr go on a quest together to find a big enough kettle because the Norse gods had their priorities in order.
Oh, he just... Oh, sorry. It's cool. I'm used to it. I think he needs a hat with that one. Yes, I'm proud of myself for that joke. I'm leaving it in.
And Tyr suggests that they get the huge kettle from his dad, who apparently owns one that's a mile deep. How much do these guys drink? Right, stupid question. No.
I mean, they're the gods of people in a certain area of the world that's known for being very alcoholism prone. The answer is it's still probably not enough for the regular humans, let alone the gods.
Never mind. Anyway, so they go to Tyr's dad, Hymir, who serves them dinner and offers to let them spend the night. Thor, like all hot-headed...
Wait. Oh, so apparently in regular mythology, Thor was... Oh, no. Tyr's dad was a giant, apparently. I guess they very much are little kids. What the hell kind of bird was that? I'm with Thor on this one. Is the right response. I hope your friend is hungry.
Protagonists has an enormous appetite and eats so much that they have to go fishing the next day for dinner.
Damn.
During which Thor accidentally fishes up Jormungand, the Midgard serpent, possibly
Catch and reel, catch and release. Oh no, catch and reel. A feisty one. I don't know. You'd have a lot of meat if you ate this one.
nearly destroying the world in the process. Whoops. Anyway, Hymir's like, oh.
Oh my god, Thor is Goku.
Alright, kid, you're pretty strong, but can you break this glass? And Thor's like, probably. But the glass proves to be intriguingly indestructible.
Whoa.
And Hymir's like, oh no, what a shame. Looks like you're not that strong after all. But Hymir's wife is like, psst, kid, chuck it at his head. And Thor's like, why not? And curveballs the glass into Hymir's skull, whereupon it promptly shatters. Hymir's like, Christ, fine, you're strong. Just take the stupid kettle and go. So they do, but first they're attacked by a horde of giants, which they beat because, obviously.
Yeah. Why did he break on his head? Oh, because he has a very hard head. The Thirimiskvitha. I apologize to anyone who actually speaks the language. I know is bad. Also, if you think me mispronouncing something is in any way unique or off-putting, hi, thank you for jumping in for the very first time. This is literally how I speak. I do English bad. I wish that was a joke. The one where Thor wears a dress. Yeah, I heard about this one.
So the Marvel comics and movies have kind of misrepresented Mjolnir, I'm afraid. It's not that only Thor or someone equally worthy can pick it up. It's more like it's so horrifyingly powerful and destructive that only Thor or someone of his caliber is capable of even holding it without disintegrating or something. So imagine how upset Thor is when he wakes up one day, looks under his bed, and finds Mjolnir has gone missing. Of course, he initially blames Loki because...
Wait. So it's the kind of thing where if you try and pick it up and you don't have enough stamina or enough health, it would kill you. Like a really powerful hammer, a master hammer. That if you don't have enough hearts, you'll die trying to pull it. Maybe I'm just drawing conclusions because my wife has been on a massive Breath of the Kingdom and now Tears of the Kingdom trip. But I see a parallel there. Maybe it's just me. It's probably just me. I don't think I did anything to warrant that today. And immediately just shouts Loki.
Obviously. But Loki insists it wasn't him. So Loki, under threat of getting the crap kicked out of him, borrows Freya's feather cloak, which lets him fly, and flies over to Jotunheim to look for
Literally no one believes you. I said I'll give it back. He probably doesn't give it back.
the missing hammer. There he finds that Thrym, the king of the Frost Giants, has stolen Mjolnir and won't give it back unless he gets to marry Freyr. Freyr, of course, is having none of this, so the eyes are...
Why does everyone keep on... Goddess of Beauty, never mind.
Giants has stolen Mjolnir and won't give it back.
Don't come back unless it's with a lovely wife for me. She's gonna love this. Well, it might help if you return her cloak.
Unless he gets to marry Freyr. Freyr, of course...
No! Also, thanks, Loki. Oh, he actually did it. Please, Freyr, do it for Mjolnir. And he's just whistling. He actually returned it. Wasn't expecting that.
Is having none of this, so the Airier all get together to try and formulate a plan that doesn't involve Freyr canoodling around with a frost giant. Hilariously, the final plan they settle on isn't Loki's idea. It's Heimdall's of all people. Heimdall proposes that the best strategy is to dress up Thor all pretty-like and pass him off as Freyr. Amazing.
Oh, my God. He's just falling over laughing. He's like, what? And Freya's going, makeover!
Amazingly, this plan is okay by everyone, so they get Thor dolled up all fancy and...
Oh my God, you know, when it's not like life or death, we should let me do this more often. You have lovely hair, you just need to take care better of it. Shut up. You'll be the prettiest girl at the ball. Does he have to shave for this? Oh, that hurts. Oh, for one, I would hate to shave.
And Thor and Loki drive off to Jotunheim with Loki posing as his...
Wait a minute, you're the shapeshifter. Why the hell couldn't you be Freya? Ooh, look, Jotunheim. And he already shifted into a girl just to hide as well.
Lovely maidservant. So Thrym is, of course, overjoyed to have Freya as his bride and throws a huge party.
I love how they're making absolutely no change to try and hide it. It's literally just a dress and a face covering. And that he's completely okay with it. A toast for my future bride. Cheer up. You're going to be queen of the Frost Giants. Oh my God, Loki.
So Thrym is, of course, overjoyed.
No, that's what I'm talking about. He has a tiny little toothpick hammer.
Joyed to have Freya as his bride and throws a huge party while Loki tries desperately to explain away why the most beautiful and refined of all the goddesses is drinking an ocean's worth of mead growling.
I don't know. I mean, considering this is the Norse culture, that seems like a winning proposition. Sore throat.
With rage whenever Thrym looks at her and absolutely rocking an enormous beard. So eventually Thrym's like, hey.
The beard was still there. I'm going to say, I don't think he needed Freya. In fact, Freya probably would be the absolute last thing he wanted. He should probably just find a dwarf.
Freya, want to see Thor's hammer? And Thor's like, yes, darling. And Thrym's like, great, here you go. And Thor immediately kills every last one of them.
Oh, that just happened. Okay. They just handed him and he killed everyone. I should go to more weddings. The best part is Loki is just being a wingman here, or wingwoman at this point. It's not even Loki's fault. Oh. Oh. Lokasena? The one where Loki thinks he's hilarious and is proved horribly, horribly wrong. And yet somehow I think I'm going to enjoy this.
So here's one important thing to note about Loki. He's a pretty fun guy, you know, a trickster archetype, a shapeshifter, and nowhere near as cute as Tom Hiddleston will have you.
Shut up! I'm plenty cute! Who are you to judge me? I don't know why, but the second I read this, it's all like in a cheapy voice.
Believe. This is one of the better known stories about Loki, and could also be considered one of the last, since this is basically the one where he takes the joke way too far. Versions of the story vary, but the one that I personally prefer, because in my opinion it makes a little more sense, is the one that incorporates consequences from a different myth entirely, such that Loki receives the punishment that he does not just for mercilessly insulting the Airier, but also because he confessed to his part in the death of Balder. Now you may remember this isn't the first time we...
Oh. Now that is interesting because it's the last one for him. And he confessed to a murder about another god who, I think, was Balder the one who was the most loved? I think Balder might have been, yeah.
We brought up Balder's death. It was referenced as early as the second poem we looked at. And that's because it's kind of a big deal, and actually could be considered one of the biggest in the whole mythology. So before I tell you this story, I have to tell you that one.
Oh, we're literally jumping around. Okay. Balder's Draumar? The one where Balder is briefly unkillable and then dies.
So basically, Baldur was the golden boy Asgardian among the Aesir, god of pretty much everything good. Love, peace, justice, forgiveness, purity, light, all that good stuff. He was Thor's little...
Probably puppies. Oh my god. The only experience I have with Baldur is mostly from God of War. And that was still one hell of a fight.
Brother, and pretty much everybody loved him. However, Baldur started getting prophetic dreams telling him that he was going to die, which kind of bummed him out. So his mother Frigg tracked down every single thing on the face of the 9 realms and made...
None of you better touch my baby. Wouldn't dream of it, ma'am. Oh, and we have the gods from the previous one, and the giants, and all the other people we just saw. Oh, jeez.
Then personally promise her that they wouldn't do anything to hurt Baldur. Everything except for harmless mistletoe, which was apparently too young to sign legally binding contracts. So as a consequence to this, Baldur became pretty much indestructible, which all the other Aesir thought was awesome, because that way they could throw all the dangerous weaponry they wanted at him with absolutely no negative consequences. It's the ultimate party game. Play it with your friends. Anyway.
I don't know which is worse. That's an over-the-top stupid thing to say. Or that I could easily see anyone in my family doing this as an actual party joke without any thought about how this seems weird. It's definitely the first one. Yeah, let's go with that.
Anyway, Loki, god of ruining things for everyone else, decided it'd be super funny if he straight up killed Baldur with the one thing that could still do it, mistletoe. So he made a spear out of mistletoe, handed it to Baldur's blind twin brother Hoder, and watched the fireworks. So Baldur died.
Ah! So that's where the name Hoder comes from. A blind spear thrower who killed his own brother. Because it was hilarious. Yeah.
Of mistletoe poisoning and also a spear to the chest, but Hel, goddess of the underworld, also named Hel, was willing to...
Really? Huh. It's a Twitter user. Everybody get those tears flowing. Hey, bro. Everyone's really mad at me for some reason. Where are we? Oh, did he die too?
Baldur died of mistletoe poisoning and also a spear to the chest, but Hel, goddess of the underworld, also named Hel, was willing to bring him back if everything, alive or dead, wept for him. Now, how could Loki...
If everything alive or dead wept. And they're all crying and cry like you mean it. And Loki's not because he thinks it's funny. Owed me 10. Yeah, he had money too soon. Ah, what you say? They even have the song lyrics down there.
Pass up such a golden opportunity to ruin everything again. So Baldur had to stay dead, but don't feel too bad. Apparently he's destined to return to life after Ragnarok and become the lone god of the new world. Wait a minute, one god...
What?
Too bad. Apparently he's destined to return to life after Ragnarok and become the lone god of the new world. Wait a minute, one god ruling a new world with only 2 humans in it? And the god is a god of light, purity, and literally all that is good in the world? And also he died one time? I have a sneaking suspicion someone tried to wrangle Christian monotheism out of Norse mythology. Anyway.
It's not even the first time that's been done. Halloween, for example, or Christmas. Yeah. Just throwing it out there. If you know the stories behind it, they're actually very interesting. I'd look them up. So this is probably someone's attempt to say, hey, remember that religion you had? Technically, you're still in the same religion. We just moved on a few chapters. Oh my, I don't even...
Anyway, Loki is basically single-handedly responsible for Baldur's death, but he did the whole thing all sneaky-like so nobody explicitly knows it's his fault. Keep that in mind when he decides that confessing to murder is a hoot at parties. So the Aesir are having a party because they literally never do anything else, and Loki gets pissed and kills one of Aegir's servants, so the Aesir are like, Loki, if you're gonna be like that, you're uninvited. And Loki's like, fine, who even needs your stupid party? And goes out into the woods to sulk. But then he decides the party is just asking for a ruinin', so he invites himself back in and gets himself a seat by calling in a favor from...
Yeah, I see you there, Odin. You know what's up. What kind of favor is he calling in?
Since they're blood brothers, yet another thing Marvel got wrong, they're obligated to have a drink together. So Loki sits himself down and toasts every god, except for Bragi.
Not you, Bragi. Dick?
Because poetry, am I right? And Bragi's like, Loki, can we not do this? I'll literally give you my worldly possessions if you don't do this. And Loki's like, that sounds like something a poor person would say. Also, you suck at...
I mean, to be fair, after he gives him all the worldly possessions, he would be poor. And still might be worth it. Because, Loki, you need to take this payment right now and shut the F up. He's not going to, but he should.
This pretty much continues on in the same...
Hold me back! Bragi, no! Or is that Eden? Iden? I don't know how to say that.
Vein, with Loki roasting any Aesir who has...
Damn, Loki, chill out. Ha! You have sex sometimes. Is that an insult?
The misfortune of talking to him, although he basically just spews random insults with no regard for basis in reality, which is very bad roasting etiquette.
So not only is he the god of trickery, but he's also not good at spitting fire. That's not even good roasting etiquette. That's just not even good. Like, oh yeah, haha, you're the goddess of love and you only have sex sometimes. Sorry, that still just seems, it's weird. Why? What's wrong with my hair? Poetry is a legitimate art. Oh yeah, who doesn't? Damn it, Loki, that's not appropriate for a party. So what if I only have one hand? Wah! Someone's just crying. Wait.
Basically just spews random on in the same vein. Something up. Roasting any eyes or who
Wait. So Green was
has the misfortune
her,
of
and she's like,
talking to him,
yes, so
although he
what?
basically
Why is
just
that a problem?
spews random insults with no regard for basis in reality, which is very bad roasting etiquette. So then Thor shows up, having been delayed by probably giants, and threatens to knock Loki's head off if he can.
Couldn't stay away from my sparkling wit. I'm about to sparkle your wits halfway across the ocean. That is definitely one way to laugh it up.
Continues with the roasting, and Loki's like, man, can none of you take a joke? It's not like I killed Balder or something. Oh, wait. So Loki skedaddles and shapeshifts into a...
That's actually how he did it. That's actually how he did. He was literally bragging and said something he didn't mean to. Oh my god, I don't even... he's a real dick.
Joke? It's not like I killed Balder or something. Oh, wait. So Loki...
Whoop! Villain exit stage left.
Skedaddles and shapeshifts into a salmon to hide from the enraged Airier, but unfortunately for him, Odin, being a literal...
They'll cool off after a few millennia, and then we'll be good. I mean, technically, yeah, but everyone that's dead at that point.
God of knowledge, doesn't have any trouble locating him,
Hello,
at which
Loki.
point they capture Loki, tie him to a rock with the entrails of one of his sons, and stick...
The entrails of one of his sons? Oh, damn, guys.
Doesn't have any trouble locating him, at which point they capture Loki, tie him to a...
You know, Balder was a god of forgiveness. Just a thought. No.
a rock with the entrails of one of his sons, and stick a venomous snake over him that drips poison into his eyes.
Ew. And considering at the time, people thought poison was more like acid and would burn you as opposed to poison you, that hurts a lot more.
And the Airier do not mess around. So Loki's wife holds a bowl over him so the venom accumulates in that instead of hitting him in the eyes all the time, but sometimes she has to go empty it out, and when that happens, Loki temporarily loses his eyes. And that, kids, is why earthquakes happen.
Seriously? Oh, there's more?
Alright, so this part of the video is a little unconventional. See, this video was actually sponsored. I know, right?
Oh,
What is
wow.
this, professionalism? Anyway, this video was brought to you in part by Alexander Patterson, who's just written a book called Choices, which is a young adult fantasy novel set in
cool.
Norway 1,000 years ago. It's heavily inspired by...
Okay, I'm just going to be flat out okay with the fact that any novelist who sponsors a video is just immediately cool in my book. I've even heard of this one, but I probably need to go check it out just because even if it's young adult fiction, I kind of want to have anyone who be smart, like, well, not even smart, but just have enough business acumen to think, this is similar. People who will like this are probably in the demographic I want to get into this. I'm going to sponsor it so they get my name. That's just really smart.
By Norse mythology, and calls on a lot of the legends, the gods, the Norns, all that jazz. Now, as you may have noticed...
And if I'm right, this is the very first one in the Legend series, so they started something that probably outlived their own work.
Norse mythology is filled with godly shenanigans, great warriors, and acts of heroism of varying degrees. Choices has none of these, largely because nearly all the gods are dead, and our protagonist, Richard, is about as far from a classical great hero as you can get. Just about the only thing going for him is that he's got this cool dragon that one of the last surviving gods gave him, and Richard didn't even
a dragon is a lot!
Because he straight up ditched the god and ran off with the dragon without even stopping to say thank you. Our protagonist, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, to be fair, I do the same thing, but that's hardly the point. So, if you like subverted tropes, Norse mythology, quasi-heroes, and or dragons, give it a look. In conclusion, Alex Patterson, Choices. He has a blog. Thank you for your time.
And that was the beginning to the Legend series from Overly Sarcastic Productions. I like all this. I like getting into the Norse mythology. And frankly, I didn't know about a lot of these stories. It's just really cool to see, like, hey, here's the shit that happened. And I'm still here wondering why the hell Odin doesn't get more play in normal media. Because, yeah, I know Thor got a big boost due to Marvel making him the main character. But frankly, Odin seems more like the guy you want to have all the stories about because he's just like, I'm the god of wisdom. And I'm going to go out and use it to do dumb shit. Usually by having other people do the dumb shit while they just don't know it's me. I want more of this. This is really fun, and I'm really glad there's an entire series about this. The only problem is a lot of it is also Journey to the West, and I'm still waiting on that. It's just going to remind me, hey, that next episode, half a year. Yeah, I'm not saying I'm waiting a long time, but I literally finished within a bit after the last video in the series came out. I'm just sitting here going like, I needed more. Is this me just finding something to fill the time until the next Journey to the West video comes out from Red? Yes, and it's actually a really good way because this is fun, man. As much as I like blue stuff, I also love red and all the artistic or interpretation she puts in. Frankly, I want to know if there's a video they've done on together because blue's knowledge and red, the sarcasm and the art, they're just such good storytellers together. I would love to see what they do. Yes, I'm basically geeking out over OSP right now, and I fully accept this, and I'm okay with it. Granted, me geeking out in general is something I do regardless, so yeah, normal. Basically, what I'm saying is there's a link below to the original video. You guys should hit it up. If you like that, subscribe. If you haven't already, you should do that as well. Actually, I'm just going to double check. I did subscribe. Okay, I did. It's a good thing because every now and again I forget. Or I've accidentally unsubscribed. Need to fix that. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.